Yeah, and then I've got some more like, like kind of like subtle throwing shade at the boss here a little bit, but like asking unqualified people for their opinion on the subject line. I never do it because when you ask non-marketers about something on marketing, they don't know how it affects them. Like if you were to ask like someone off the street, do you ever buy anything because of Google Ads? Most of them would say no. But the problem is a bunch of them have. They just didn't think about it. They didn't realize it when it was happening. Like they don't know how marketing impacts them. And that's why you have to talk to other marketers if you are going to get a second view on those things. So building your first drip campaign, I'd really recommend something. Well, I'm not. I wanted to throw an example of a drip campaign that I've got running live just to show what's possible. You don't start with something like this though.
This is a really simple one, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a
This
simple
seems
one.
very
Yeah,
simple.
it is. Crack one of these out in about an hour or so. Now, usually what'll happen is you'll start with something simple. I'm going to start with this is going to happen, then this email is going to go out, and that's it. And then I'm going to add a wait for 2 days, and then I'm going to send another one. And then maybe I'm going to set some goals. So if they book an appointment or if they fill out a form or something like that, I'll kick them out after the first one. And then maybe I'll put a decision in there. Maybe if they say this, I'll go this way. And if they say that, I'll go that way. And you start to layer and layer and layer. And a lot of people talk about like AI and like AI in marketing. Every time I try it, every time I try something that's AI, I'm generally let down. But when people start to automate things and add layers of automation and layers of automation, you start to get to a place where it looks like AI or it starts to feel like AI because it's doing some basic smart things every time with the same prospects. And it starts to almost act like a person would be making this decisions because a person coded it, a person built it to do these things all the time. So generally with a drip or nurture campaign, you're generally moving prospects down a sales funnel of some kind. That might be to a sale. It might be if you're sending out an alumni email newsletter. It might be you want to get a donation from them, or you might want to get a recurring donation from them, or you might want to get them to donate, or get them to come to an event and then donate, or whatever the case might be. So there's always a sales funnel of some kind that you're trying to move someone down, and the newsletter or email or drip campaign is generally applying pressure to move them down. Generally, there's a couple of. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, can I ask you a question before you move too far away
Yep.
from that beautiful, glorious graphic of a drip campaign? How did you
Yep.
make that?
I'll show you in a minute how you can make one of these. Because what I intended to do was start with like a blank slate, and then we could like build one together. We could start building one out because I think it's a pretty interesting thought process to go through, and
Yeah,
you
try to
can
explain it to people, and having a visual like this would be amazing. So.
yeah, and it definitely changes changes based on like what you start with and where you want to go with it. So this is the craziest version I've got. Actually, this isn't even the craziest. This is just the one that would fit on a screen properly. The other one wasn't readable, but I'll get to some more basic examples. I mean, at the most basic, a drip campaign is a series of emails that you're going to send out over time, or a series of other like text messages, anything else I guess you wanted to send out. Generally, you're going to be using personal timing based on when the prospect entered. So everyone's going through their journey on their own time. Someone gets added to the start of this beast, and they start going through it on their own time. And then a day later, someone else gets added to it. They start going through it on their own time. There's no on Tuesdays this goes out, on Thursdays this goes out. It goes out on based on when the prospect enters.
That's what makes it feel like a personal journey, though.
Yeah, because the timing's really good, right? Like it gives you enough time to chew on each thing. I really like drip campaigns for like training. Like with our product, when we need to train our users after they purchase, that after training drip campaign is so well used, and it helps people learn more. So I give them bite-sized learning. Here's something you need to learn about here. Here's a video. Here's an article about it. Here's something else. Wait 2 days. And then something else. So it's a really good way of kind of dripping out the information to people. because generally, if you think about all the resources you could throw at a brand new customer, it's probably overwhelming. So that's why you'd want to like drip them out over time. The nice thing about these is that they really improve consistency. Another really inconsistent thing that most companies have, and in marketing, you might not even be asked to fix this, but it's something that you should fix, is the post-sale process. What happens after the sale's made, or what happens after the thing is closed? The salesperson does something, they arrange a meeting with them. Do we survey them? Well, that depends on the salesperson. And anytime you hear that, you're like, oh my God, you gotta apply marketing to that. You gotta apply some automation to it to improve consistency. Post-sale is a great example for that. And I'll pull up an example a little bit later here. And then just performing like repetitive marketing tasks, quarterly surveys, post-sale introduction. Quarterly surveys is a really good one because most companies don't survey their customers enough and don't know when their customers are about to leave. So for a lot of companies out there, a customer leaves and they're like, oh, I didn't even know anything was wrong. But had you asked? Nah, not really. I mean, our account managers talk to them, but did you ask them really? Because if I get a negative survey response, I know something's up. I send that to support so that they can help out that customer and figure out what's going on. And it really helps from again, consistency standpoint. Because salespeople are after the next sale. They don't want to survey people and find out about their feelings. They already got their money. They don't care about their feelings. Move on to the next one. Any salespeople in here? No? Good. Okay. And then there's a couple of other things you might want to take a look into. Again, starting with those goals first. Maybe make sure that you establish those. Find your internal subject matter experts. Some of the stuff that we do in marketing crosses over like really hard with sales. And I think in those instances, you would do well by going and finding the best salesperson or the salesperson with the best emails and stealing some of their content, just ripping it off, because they probably have really good stuff that really converts. And they probably talk about the product in a simplified way. Maybe it's not the correct way, but maybe it's simplified and better than marketing would talk about it. Marketing might use some flowery language or language that's not kind of cutting to the chase, whereas sales might be better at that. So I think that, again, finding those internal subject matter experts are really great. The other thing that they're really good at is identifying timing issues. I was mentioning like doing a post-sale drip campaign. If I talk to a salesperson, they might be saying, okay, day one, they probably got a million things. Please don't send them an email day one. Day two, though, you could. Day two, you probably send them an email. Usually I send an email like this. It's thanks for purchasing. Here's some support resources. Here's our YouTube channel, blah, 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 the self-serve stuff. And again, cribbing those notes from those internal SMEs would be really good. Think about what circumstances people should exit the campaign on. There should always be circumstances. They've unsubscribed. They replied back and said, F you. Okay, probably pull them out. They've called in, or they've booked an appointment, or they did the thing I wanted them to do. Like, all these things should be listed out, and you should know when to pull them out of the campaign.